you from my Southern Colorado stamp studio, and I'm super excited today to be able to show you this fun tutorial that was originally created for one of my local library curbside classes. So with that said, let's just go ahead and dive into what you're going to have in your kit when you receive it. All right, first of all, this month I'm using some things from the Kangaroo and Company set. So it's an adorable set. And when you get yours, you're going to have a saying, and then you're going to have one of these things. It could be the party hat. It could be one of the little kangaroos. It could be the flowers, the butterfly, the single heart, whatever. You're going to have two things that are going to come to you this month. And again, you'll need one of your little ink pads that you've had from the start, or if you need to and want a big full one, you can always message and purchase from me. So that's what's the first thing. You're going to have two stamps, an image and a sentiment. Secondly, in your class or in your kit, oh, it's stuck to my stamp set, you have a little coupon. So if there is something that you need, like a full-size ink pad or scissors or gems, glue, whatever, this is good for this month only. And it's for 15% off your first purchase or class in March 2021. It's for new customers, and it can't be combined with any other deals or offers. But I hope that you'll take advantage of using that. Again, if you want to shop with me online, sizzlenstamper.stampinup.net, and March's host code is XYSZKURQ. All right, the other things that you're going to have in your kit beyond the stamps are a bonus gift stamp from me of this cute little fuzzy bunny. And she is, I guess it could be a he as well, but she is from this adorable set called Springtime Joy. And I just love it. It looks so chunky and mushy and fuzzy and fluffy. It's just adorable. So I threw that in because I think it's going to be the perfect peekaboo for this card. Then these two items are a saying and that image, and that's where you're going to stamp them onto this extra piece of white cardstock above your bunny. And that's just a thank you from me. Thank you for being a class member for so many months. The additional pieces in your kit, you have a half of a white cardstock, so that is your card base. You're going to have a quarter layer down, 1/4 inch of Flirty Flamingo cardstock. Then you're going to have a square of a random black and white print, and they're all different. And you will notice that you have the circle is closer to one side than the other, and that you will want to know that because it makes a difference when we go to put the card together. You're also going to have a random circle punch. These are the centers that I punched out of the squares for this card. Now, your center may not be the exact center that came out of your square. It's too hard for me when I kit up so many kits, but you are going to have a black and white design, and it won't matter that it's not identical. Oop, I missed bringing one key element in, grabbing it that we need to make. I knew that my desktop looked funny. It looked like it was missing something. You're going to have one of these adorable mini black and white polka dot boxes, and they're already cut and scored, so it's going to make it super, super easy for you. The other thing I didn't grab is you're going to have a package of little mini bunny marshmallows, so bunny tails, and that's hopefully what you can squash into this cute little box, okay? So if not, you can use it for whatever. Then you're going to have a piece of twine, either white or pink, depending, and you're going to have a couple of these black dots. So you might have small, you might have bigger ones. They're just random. You're just going to have a couple of those. All right, so let's go ahead and I want to get these little dots out right now. So, and get me some twine out right now. All right. So to begin with, I think what you will need to do is first of all, stamp your two images that came in your set with your ink spot. Okay. And then set that aside for now. And we're going to go ahead and assemble the box. I often like to start with the difficult thing because it takes the longest. This box is going to go together relatively easy. It is a no adhesive required box, so that's really great as well. So all you're going to do is go through, and all the little score lines, you want to just fold those over wherever they go. If you want to really get nice crisp folds on them, you can use a bone folder or the back of your scissors, the back of a butter knife will work. Excuse me. I felt that sneeze coming on and I knew I wasn't going to be able to stop it. So you're just going to go through that whole box and all the little tabs and edges that there are, and there are a lot. But the nice thing about this is, even though there's a lot of things to fold and burnish, there's no adhesive, so you do not have to try to figure out where would you stick adhesive on here. You may find once you've done the box that you want to add a little bit of adhesive to hold it more securely, but that's up to you. So make sure, did you see those two little, let me put a paper behind them so you can see. Make sure that you get those two little pieces there popped out, because those in essence hold your tab. All right, and let's see. You guys know me in box building. I am not always the best. So these two little tabs from the center and the front end come in. The front end meaning this one with the little finger hole. They come in. So your box comes up. This is the lid. And then these sides come down over it, and they have that tab, and that tab is what fits into that little hole that I just was showing you. Okay, just like so. And then the rest of it is these little tabs go inside, as does that. And there it is. That's the box. Now, your marshmallow bunny tails may be too big. So with the air, especially coming in, shipping to Colorado with the elevation. So you can do a couple of things. If you're going to give it right away, take your scissors and poke the tiniest hole, or a paper clip or a thumbtack. Punch the tiniest hole. That will relieve some of the air out of there. Or you can empty them and put them into a different little bag, or give them openly, or put something else in. A Ghirardelli chocolate square fits in here perfectly as well. I just thought the bunny tails were going to be so cute, and they looked like they were going to be sized right. And now that once I got them and the boxes together, I'm not 100% sure, but they're adorable. So you'll find a use for them. All right, so this second, we're going to go back to the box later, and we'll do all of our decorative stuff later. So let's go ahead and build the key element of our card. And that is just going to be, first step is to put the Flirty Flamingo layer on, just center it up on that card base. So fold your white card in half, and then glue the Flirty Flamingo right on top of there. This card is designed to be an up and down card, so that may make a difference to you. Once you see the card, you may decide to change it, but I kind of like it up and down. Now, for this next part, you're going to want to realize that you're layering the black and white piece, and you need to decide which print do you like on there. I think I'm going to do the dots to coordinate back just to coordinate back to the box. The wider part needs to be at the bottom. So this is the top of the card up here. The wider part needs to be at the bottom. And that is because now we're going to get to do some of the fun decorating stuff. So I'm going to set that aside. So with your pencils, blends, whatever you want to use, you're going to color this little fluffy bunny and your other item in. So I'm just I want to kind of keep my concept black and white. So I am really just going to use the Flirty Flamingo I'm creating by using our coral and a pink together. but it doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to use a little bit of the Granny Apple Green for my green, just so it's kind of still bright and springy. The Granny Apple Green reminds me of that first new spring grass that you see. And then I'm going to go ahead and come up in here, and I'm going to color. I just used the flower stamp from that set. You may have gift boxes or whatever, or you may not even want to use your stamp. So I'll show you what that's going to look like. So once you see the finished project, then you'll know whether you want to use whatever stamps that you got. You may want to use something that we've sent out previously to you or something that you already have. Either way, they're going to be adorable. Whether you put a kangaroo on it, whether you put a party hat, whether you just put your saying on there instead of on your card, it's all up to you. I'm going to go ahead and take my blender pen, yes. And I'm just going to run it over all those and kind of try to get them to look a little bit more watercolor instead of penciled. And I can see that I missed coloring one item in. So just doing the same. Now my rabbit, she's so cute, but I think, and that's all you do to clean that blender pen is just run it off on a piece of your paper. I think I'm going to add her some little pink cheekies, just a little bit of color. And I'm just doing some very soft circles for her cheek area, and I'm going to kind of follow that nose line and darken that in with the pencil. And then when I take my little blender pen in there, it'll just give a barely little hint of pink. And if you wanted a pink belly or whatnot, you could do that as well. However, her belly's not going to show too much, so you may even be cutting part of it off. Now we're going to do some fussy cutting. So we're going to go ahead and cut her out with these paper snips that I just adore. You know, make sure when you're doing fussy cutting, you're using the proper scissors. That's half of the battle. You want a scissor that has a short blade. These are about 2.5 inches of blade when they're fully open. And the biggest thing is these have a slightly curved blade. And that's what makes it so easy to get in there and do all the little cutting around the edges. And you see how my technique is I tend to move my paper often, especially around tiny things. I kind of move my paper to mimic where my scissors go. So that's one. Now you're going to see for my saying, however, because I want to trim that nice and straight and close, I will use these big paper scissors because they have a long blade and it's a straight edge blade. And that gives me that nice straight edge cut without having to think too much about it. I mean, sometimes you do. Sometimes you do have to pay attention. And I don't get myself overly in a worry. You can also use a paper trimmer if you want it to be able to measure it off and really get it super straight. But remember, my motto is, you know, make sure that you have time to create and do these things. It's good for your own soul, but it's so much better for you and someone else when you take time to create something and then give it away. So if that means you need quick creation time, you know, you don't need to worry. People will love to receive something that's hand created by you, whether it is perfect or not. In fact, I believe that the imperfections are what makes the handmade item so beautiful often. For one thing, it just lets you know that someone took time to create for you personally. All right, so let's lay those two things aside and let's just work with our rabbit and our card. Now, the rabbit is going to be peeking up through this little, in essence, we've created a little window. So you're going to want to kind of position your rabbit wherever you want, and then I would say put a little bit of your glue right along that part of your window. Okay. And I like using my white Tombow multi-purpose glue for this because I can kind of maneuver it around. And I don't want my rabbit straight up and down, but you could have your rabbit straight up and down. You can then glue this flat, right? Center it up from the top and sides. I'm going to show you what it looks like if you have some of the dimensionals. So if that's not something you have, they're super inexpensive. They're about $4 a package. You can get this is the regular size, or you can get minis if you do a lot of little pieces. And it would be something that you can use your 15% off your first purchase with me. But I love this one, creating the dimension, because now it really looks like my little bunny is back there popping out from behind the window. And if I am using dimensionals on my window, I'm probably going to poke one dimensional on the back of my bunny's head to help her really look like she's just popping her little head out there. Isn't that adorable? It's so cute. All right. So now you're going to have a decision to make whether you want your saying, whatever your saying is, if you want that to be on your card or if you don't. The other choices you're going to have to make are, you have a bit of twine in your kit. And it is designed to wrap and do a bow around there, but I'm going to show you the other option you could do is you could choose to put a bow, put a wrap. You could have lifted and put the twine underneath the Flirty Flamingo. If you would do that, you would want to glue it and do it beforehand. But you could put some ribbon here. You could put a bow. If you have the pink twine, you could maybe put a bow up here in the corner. That's just to give you an idea. So for this one, because again, I like the different dimensions, and because I've got my little rabbit window popped up, I'm going to lay my sentiment on flat. So I've just trimmed that right out of the white. I'm going to center it right there. And then you're going to have, remember I said you're going to have a couple of these little dots. And normally I like to work in odd numbers, but this time I'm using, oops. I'm going to use my saying as one of my things, or I might just do one. So you may want to just do one there. I think I like the one. And interestingly, how I've designed it, and that was just how it turned out, is I've created this angled effect. So down here is some nice negative space, and your eye likes negative space, especially in angles and trios, odd numbers, because that's what your eye moves around with naturally. All right, so that's the card. Isn't that adorable? So stinking cute. Okay, now to finish the box, you could do a couple of things. So one, you're going to put your candy in it, and you're going to put your twine around it. I'm not actually going to tie this around mine for the moment so I can fill it later. But you're going to have your twine in there. I'm hoping to just try to keep that box lid closed so you can see. Now, you could also color this if you have a print and just leave it, or add a little tag that you make with a piece of white paper to so-and-so. Mine happens to be the dot on the back. I'm going to just pull I didn't pay attention to that when I grabbed whatever one I was going to work with. I think because I happen to have the flower thing, with a flower stamp, I'm going to pull something. You could either do this big flower and load it up, or I'm going to put a different print and then put my flower right there. And again, you have that sentiment saying, so if you wanted, you could stamp it on another scrap of paper and put it on right there. But the idea would be that you're going to glue that on. And again, if you have a dimensional, I recommend using it. If you don't, just glue it flat. And then you're going to glue that right on somehow to your, I like it down in a corner. And then that will go and get glued around the rib. You want to kind of layer it on top of the ribbon so the person can still get this open if they need to. Well, they will need to because they'll need to see what's inside. And then you could just write a little paper to, you know, Shannon or whatever. So those are your 2 projects. I hope that you really enjoy them. They're super cute and a little bit more of a modern trend and take on springtime and Easter than we might normally think of. We always think of pastels, and I love the black and white. It's very crisp and eye-catching, and I love pairing it with the bright flirty flamingo and those bright pencil colors. It really says spring has sprung. So I hope you enjoyed those projects today, and make sure you take it and create it and make it your own. All right, bye for now, guys.